Hi friends, it's Laura. I have a fun video today, I think. I am going to show you my process when I am modeling clothes to sell online. So let me back up a little bit because having to squat that low hurts my legs. Before I get into the modeling portion, I thought I would go over something that I got off of Depop. I know I shit talk Depop all the time and say that like sales are terrible on there. And for me, sales are terrible. But what I do really love about Depop is their algorithm for basically like their For You page. I forget what they call it. It's really great. I go on now and I just kind of like things all the time because the more stuff I like, the more Depop gets really good at showing me more things that I'll like. And I purchased this piece recently. This is going to be for resale, but I still felt like it was a really great piece. That is, wow, that's cute. This is the little thing from the envelope. So they just shoved that back in the envelope as garbage for me. So thanks. That was cute. But they did include a little card, which is nice. They wrapped it in tissue. Personally, I'm pretty indifferent about the tissue thing. This thank you, enjoy. And the piece that I got is this dress. In fact, I'll probably try it on for you. Here we go. Actually, this is funny because one of the pieces I'm modeling today, look at this thing. So this is short. You can't really see it. And I probably will list this for resale. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that my camera is still active, not the camera that I'm filming on, the camera that I'm taking photos with, so that I don't have to go and reactivate it for you afterwards. So let's see what this looks like on. I could theoretically keep it, but I don't live this life these days. Look at this, how cute this is. I think I purchased this for $30, including shipping from Depop, which was phenomenal. So in addition to Depop showing you really great pieces in the, I think it's like suggested for you or something. And then they have another section called based on your likes, which I think is just like more suggested for you essentially. But look how cute this is. Oh, ooh, gorgeous. I love it. All right, let's see. So really adorable. I will be most likely reselling this. And actually, I will use it as the first piece that I'm going to take photos of when I go over this with you. So taking photos, modeling photos online. I know that if you haven't done it before, it might seem like it's no big deal, like you just stand in front of a camera and take pictures, but it's not that easy actually. I've learned a lot over a few years of doing it this way. I do have a dress form that I've used in the past and that I do still use on occasion when I have pieces that are just way too small. And it's great, but I feel like it's, I mean, this is like a perfect example because look at these sleeves, right? So on a dress form, this dress is going to look like this. And, you know, you can always like hold the sleeve out a little bit, but it's just so much better if you can photograph it, you know, and like all this kind of stuff. So I like being able to put things on a body when I'm able to. Obviously, there are things that are too big for me. There are things that are too small for me. I try to make it work as often as possible. And when things are too small, I just put them on the dress form. When things are too big, honestly, it's my dress form is smaller than me. I don't have a good flat lay option in the space that I live in and work in. But so that's kind of what it is for me. It's either me or the dress form generally. So I try to make those work. But uh, for photos, let's see. So this is my little photo corner. A lot of places will tell you to use like plain white. I think that's fine, but this is the most attractive corner of my house. The easiest one that I have to be able to take photos in. At this point, this is kind of branding for me. Everything, it's like very clearly me when you see all of this on photos online. And I also kind of like it. There's a lot of other sellers that I see that have more personalized looking spaces. I think that the plain white backgrounds are good for like Google Lens type of stuff, but Google Lens is getting better and better at picking out, you know, aspects of objects that are sort of the focal point of a photo. And I'm not selling free people stuff. So it's not, it doesn't have to stand out in the same way. I don't think, I think when you're selling vintage, you're selling a little bit of experience and atmosphere and aesthetic just as much as you're selling the garment itself. So, my space. I have 3 lights set up. I got really big photo lights. I got these from Amazon a few years ago. They are Limo Studio, I think. They're like giant and they're not my favorite, honestly. Now they make a lot of nice little like LED lights that are much more compact. I don't have any of those because they are expensive. I got my 3 lights for like 120 bucks. And then I've spent approximately $752,000 on the light bulbs that go with them. But so I have one directly in front of me, right behind you. And then I have one off to this side and one off to this side. And ideally, like I had to look up a thing on YouTube at some point to be able to set up lighting. And the reason that you have 3 is essentially to eliminate shadows. I'm going to go shut one of them off so that you can see sort of what happens when you don't have the lighting coming from all the directions. So, un momento, you can still hear me. I'm just going to shut this light off. And then, so now you can see obviously over here there's a big shadow and I'm like poorly lit on this side, better over here. So the 3 lights just balances all of that out. And I have tried in the past to just do the one light straight on, but it still creates all sorts of weird shadows. So that's always a little bit problematic. The other thing that I have to be really careful with in my own particular space is lining up my camera properly. Obviously, I have a lot of lines in here. I've got this dresser, I have this photo. You can't really see it, but I have a floorboard down here that shows up in my photos a lot. And this wall over here sometimes ends up in the photos. I have to make sure that my camera is lined up properly because otherwise things look extra wonky if any of that is off. So, and it's crazy. Sometimes I think I've got it lined up properly and then I take photos of like 46 items and then it's not lined up properly. And now let me check my camera just to make sure it's still on. Hold on. I don't know. We'll get there. So lining up the photo, and all I do is I have an iPhone as my camera. I currently have an iPhone 12. My old phone was an iPhone 10. Yes, I'm very behind. All right, good. It's still on, but that's what I have. My iPhone 10, I mean, it got the job done, but it did, for some reason, the photos were yellow a lot of the time, and I had to do a lot of editing. On my iPhone 12, I do not have that issue. It's a lot better, thankfully. So, and I don't use any editing apps. I just use iPhone's like camera app or photo app to edit things. So, let's get into the actual modeling process. So, when I photograph clothing for selling online, I model it myself. I use I don't know what, the back facing camera, the one like not the selfie camera. Okay. So, when I'm taking photos, I cannot see myself reflected in the viewfinder thing. When I'm doing a YouTube video, I use sort of the selfie facing thing so that I can see myself. But when I'm taking regular photos, I want a better resolution. And I feel like I get that when I'm using the real camera. So I can't see what I look like when I'm taking all these photos. As a result, I take about 497,000 photos, a little bit of an exaggeration, but realistically, I take somewhere between 45 to 60 photos for every individual item that I'm going to be listing. And that's before like tags or close ups of flaws or anything. That's just like the modeled shots. And I will pare that down. Etsy allows for 10 photos, Depop allows for 8, and then eBay allows for like, I don't know, 24 or something. So I generally go for like 10 photos that are, usable. So what I do is I get in my little spot here, and I generally try to get front, back, side, side at the very minimum. So like, for example, if I'm photographing this dress, I'm going to do 4 photos. Also, by the way, I have a remote here for my phone. It's a shutter remote. Generally, I get these on Amazon. They are almost always crap. And when I get them, sometimes I've gotten them at like 2 for $8. This one I think I paid like $20 for. This one's the 2 for 8 were fine. The batteries die or they fall apart, like literally fall apart. I couldn't get the pieces back together again. This one, it disconnects very frequently. So if you have too much time, like if I have to change my outfit for the next item that I'm photographing, this will disconnect itself in the meantime. So I have to like keep turning it off and turning it back on to get it to reconnect to the phone. It's very annoying. So it seems like no matter how much you pay for these stupid things, they suck. But So just like go for the cheap ones and see how it goes. And again, they often come with a tripod, which is great. So I have my little remote. So I'm going to stand in front of the camera, do a front view, and then I turn to the side. I can get my hair out of the way. Side view, stand up straight. I do the back. When I do the back, I try to move my hair out of the way because I want to be able to crop this so that it's like, I do like a cropped view where I'm really tight on just like, from here to like the end of the dress to have it be more of a close up. So then I've got my 4 views. Now I'm going to go into doing more fun poses. One of the things I learned somewhere, I don't remember where, I saw some chick on Instagram or something, talking about like, so normally I would pose for a photo and I used to try and do this and it looks very awkward, right? And then I would try to like, I don't even remember what I used to try to do. I used to, I've seen some people stand kind of like this, like, Depop is very famous for like, I don't know, these girls are all like standing like they've got their boobs in the camera or so. I don't know what they're doing. I can't do it. I've never been able to replicate what they're doing. But I saw someone talk about creating angles. So you basically are trying to create triangles with your body. So you would do this, maybe you would do something like this. What I have found myself doing a lot is I'll kind of put, hold on, and now you can see my legs. So I throw one leg out here to the side and then I kind of pop my hips this way, right? And then I lean, and sometimes I just have my arm in honestly a very awkward position. Sometimes I put it here, but it's just like a cute little pose. And then I might do this. But you're trying to just create, partially it gives some interest. Like the hand on the hip is always great for sleevey stuff. Sometimes I do just do this, you know, to try and get the sleeve, right? And then, and probably I should have tried to get a few more photos. Hold on. I'm talking to you too much and I'm not focusing on. Okay. I'll go to the side. Another thing that I'll probably have to show you in a different outfit, but posing makes a big difference just for the aesthetic pleasingness of it. So from here, it's like, this is fine, whatever. But if I do this, this dress isn't great for this. We'll show you. I'm going to take a few photos. I have to be careful about pulling my shoulders back, sucking in for me, and maybe kind of popping the booty out a little bit too. It's very unnatural positions, if you're wondering. A lot of these positions look good in photos, but they are, I already did the other one with my hair pulled away, but they're very uncomfortable to do. If you ever had to take photos, get your photo taken when you were in school, and they, obviously it's been a long time since I had that done, so I assume they still do this, but you sit down to take your photo and you're like, and then the photographer comes over and tilts your head like some weird, strange way, and it feels like, what are you doing? But then you get the picture and you're like, oh, okay, that looks good. So there's definitely stuff like that involved. All right, now I'm taking this off. I hate taking clothes on and off 100 times while I am doing my photos. Oh my God, this thing is polyester. It's very hot under these lights. Okay, so I'm going to show you again sort of the difference in position, right? So, I can stand like this, it's fine. But if I stand like this, it just looks cuter. If I stand like this, you know, especially from the side, for me at least, and everybody's going to be different because we all have different bodies. This, not great. Maybe it's okay. Also, we will all note that I have terrible posture. To exaggerate my own posture, I tend to stand kind of like this naturally. So I always kind of have to tilt this and pull this back. And there's a lot of adjustment going on just on a normal basis, but especially in photos. But even if I'm standing really properly, this is still not very appealing. So I twist my torso a little bit, usually I either pull the arm back or put it on my hip somehow. And again, I don't want to do this because I'm trying to show the side of the garment. And then I'll do this, right? So I'll put the knee up, but then also to give myself a little bit of an ass, right? Now, maybe you don't have to do this pelvic tilt if you have a little more booty going on. I don't really have a lot of booty going on this way. My booty's going on more over this way. Okay. I'm like flat Stanley. Like from this side, I have a shape. From this side, it's just straight down. So, all right. So, right. And then it's just a little bit more. And sometimes I try to remember to suck this in. Uh, that's more for me. I don't like it. Sorry. Trying to get over that. But right. So then there's posing. And then from the back, now, for me specifically, I forget, you can hear me when I do this. For me specifically, my lower half of my body is bigger than my top half. I'm like a size 8 down here and a size 6 up here. I am self conscious about it. I think it looks weird. And then when I combine it with my posture, I think, I feel like this is very emphasized when I'm, you know, facing this way. So I feel like if I tilt my head back a little bit as though I'm looking up slightly, I feel like it kind of fixes that. It balances things out a little bit more. So I often will do that kind of pose as well. And this is all stuff I've learned through editing 8 million of my own photographs over and over and over again. Not necessarily super fun. If you are not confident about how you look in general, it can be not fun. If you are okay about how you look, but you hate how you look in photos, it can be not fun. Like it's taken me a long time to be able to get better at doing these photos. And there's still times that I will do a day where I take a million photos of myself and just don't like how I look in them. And I'm kind of at the point now, I'm like, whatever, put it up. But there's been a lot of times where it's like I refused to use photos. So, all right, so I'm going to photograph this skirt. My Bluetooth disconnected itself again already, keeps doing that. So, this happens to fit me really nicely, which is a plus. Obviously, I also don't usually wear this thing when I'm doing photos. I'm just not going to put myself in underwear on YouTube. So there you go. All right. So these fit me really nicely, which is great. A lot of times, though, I will be trying something on or modeling something that is too tight. And sometimes like really too tight. Like I've gotten it on my body, but it's not comfortable at all. And so I'll be muffin topping out of the top of my pants. So for any kind of bottoms, skirts, pants, whatever, what I will usually do is I pull my arms up like this because it stretches the skin so the muffin top goes away, right? So sorry about that. So I do this and I do my little front, back, side, front, back, side, side. Doesn't want to do it. What is my phone doing? There we go. Try this one more time. That happens a lot too. Okay. And then because these are a skirt, I'm only going to do one of, no, I'll do two of these. Because there's a skirt, these have full shorts underneath. So I'm going to pull this up. I don't need to really raise my arms, but I'm going to do front and I'll do a back. I'm not doing the whole side thing because in this case, I'm just trying to get across that it's, you know, how some skirts, it's like shorts in the back, but a skirt in the front. I'm trying to show that this is like fully shorts. Okay. Now, I want to do like an outfitty kind of shot. So I do try to style my pieces in a cute way. You know, if I'm listing a skirt, I try and find a shirt that will look cute with it and put them together. But I admit that it's very much dependent on what I have that needs to be listed currently. So I'm not going back and pulling old inventory because it looks extra cute with that skirt or something. Every now and then I may do something like that. But not typically. Typically, I'm just going to work with what I have out already. This is like lint on it. I don't know where my lint roll. Oh, there she is. We're going to get a little of that lint taken off. Tedious for you. So sorry. And also, though, this is how this goes. So I'm sure the back needs it too, but now I'm going to just be getting my own hair stuck. One of the other things that I try to do when I do photo days is, obviously, I am a pasty white girl. I try to wear black undergarments, black bra, black panties. The reason that I do that is because it shows contrast. So this shirt, for example, is slightly sheer, and you really can't see it, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see here. But if I were just wearing my plain bra, you'd if you could see through the shirt, that's where you'd be able to see the contrast. So I try to do that on purpose to show opacity. I don't know what the words for that are. But and I generally try to wear like the same thing all the time, but that's just because I'm being weird. Let's see. So now I'm gonna do my whole little outfit. I do have to do my shirt though first. Let's see. This is I'm gonna button this all the way up. And I try to show like this one is less important. I don't really care about showing it fully buttoned all the way up to the neck, but like a 70s dagger collar shirt, I like to do that so that they can get an idea of what the collar looks like when it's buttoned up because it's nice and long and pointy. And then I unbutton it for the style because like I'm not gonna go around wearing it all, buttoned up like that. So try and do that shot. Do the back. Noises are not required. All right, there we go. And now the posy shots. So, and every time I'm taking a bunch of photos, I'm just making subtle movements, you can tell. I take way too many photos. Sometimes I've been posing and then I was like, oh yeah, am I sucking in? So I have to sort of readjust and drop my shoulders down because I tend to hunch them up like this. All these things that you become very aware of when you take photos of yourself 100 times a day. I actually do this maybe once every, sadly, I don't know, maybe once a month. I should do it more than that. Also, from behind, if I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, I will bend my arms up because I feel like when they're down, there's like too much elbow skin going. It looks weird. So I bend my arms so that my elbows don't have all that extra skin. Okay. All right. So now. Okay. The other thing is that I do take 8 bajillion photos because I can't see them as I go. And it's better to have way too many photos than to be all done and okay, I'm all done with it, and then take all the outfits off and then realize that you hate them because your eyes are half closed or whatever. So I take way too many. Just doing one tucked in because cute while I'm here. So a bajillion photos. Now, next I'm going to do a little two-piece outfit. And again, I'm always trying to, in fact, I have to remember a new thing with my little two-piece outfit. So I try to show in the first photo, because that's where you're grabbing someone's attention, that this is a two-piece outfit. Etsy has recently come out with some of their suggestions saying don't use a collage photo as your first photo. Generally, in the past, that is what I will do. And I was using a collage photo, one showing like just in this case, it's a dress and a blazer. So one photo would have just the dress on, and the second would have the dress and the blazer. But Etsy doesn't like collage photos anymore. And ultimately, if I really felt like I needed to use it, I would. But in this case, I'm going to try something a little different. So here's the dress, which is so cute. I hope it looks okay with this little thingy underneath it. This is a little snug on me, so I'm gonna have to shimmy into it a little bit, I think, if I remember. Yeah. The hips are like, okay, gonna have to readjust that for sure. And this is very annoying too, like having to change 800 times when you're taking photos. I don't like it. I don't like it when I'm shopping for clothes. Make sure I don't get my hair stuck. I do on occasion have to go find my boyfriend to help me close things up. All right, so I'm going to do the dress first on its own. Now, because this is a two-piece thing, and again, I'm only dealing with a total of 10 photos for Etsy, 8 for Depop. Um, I don't like using collages in general. I will when I feel like I have to. So I will try to get, my Etsy listing ultimately will probably have maybe front and back of the dress, front and back of the blazer. Like ideally, again, I want to show front, back, side for everything, but I'm limited. So I'm going to take all the photos as though I'm doing all of that for each of these pieces. I lost my connection again. So also, you notice I smile like a crazy person in my photos. It's my customer service smile, right? And that's because when I don't do the smile and I try to do bored model face and I just look angry and disgruntled. So it's not a good look for me. So I have to do customer service face, but that's okay. The other thing that's nice about customer service face is that it's kind of like um, a really cheap facelift. So, I started getting a little stuff going on under here and whatever, and the smile just pulls it all up. So that's another benefit for me. So sorry, I can't talk when I'm smiling apparently. All right, so now I've got the little blazer. So cute. And what I'm going to try and do for my collage photo, or for my collage photo alternative, right? So instead of just putting the blazer on, I'm going to do one photo. I'm going to do one of these. Let's see. I don't know that I'm going to like this, but we'll play around with it. We'll see what happens. A second thing I think I'm going to do with this, it'll work out well, I think. Hold on. Okay. Ow, I just got a cramp in my side. All right. So one of those photos hopefully will work out. And I can use that as my cover photo. So it shows, first of all, partially because I think the dress is the really cute part. Like the blazer is fine, whatever. But the dress is adorable. But then it shows that it's two pieces, so they know to keep scrolling. And I'm going to do both buttoned and unbuttoned. So I don't know what I'll end up using. And let's see. Pull this away. I think another thing that's also something I've noticed for my own photos is I used to really try to make sure I took 7 billion photos. Obviously, if there's any flaws or anything, I take photos of that stuff. But when I'm limited, like this piece, I'm going to be limited for. And instead of making myself nuts creating collages, um, what I will probably do, especially for a site like Depop that only gives me 8 photos, is I will probably try and just do um, like front and back of the dress. I'm not going to do the sides. I used to feel like I had to show every single side or make sure that every piece of the garment was visible at some point in the photo process. But that was more about me trying to protect myself against return claims. So I felt like if somebody wanted to claim that there was something wrong with the garment, if I showed every single piece of everything, then I would be able to say like, no, that didn't have that hole or whatever, right? So but I take returns and I don't get them very frequently, so I'm not really concerned about that. So, I basically try to give a good impression of what the outfit is going to look like on someone, but also, if I don't show this side of the dress, you know what I mean? Like you can figure out what the side of the dress looks like basically. There's nothing happening there that, this also, by the way, having to do all this back stuff here. There we go. Gets very annoying when you're doing your own modeling. So, not all fun and games. There we go. The next piece is cute. Let's see. I'm not hanging this back up properly because I'm being a terrible person. All right, this one, little Barbie dress. I love this. I can't remember where I got this from. I remember showing it in a haul video and that it had stains all over it. So I did get the stains out. I did have this in, I think, one Whatnot show so far. And now that I'm photographing it for you all, it's probably not making it into another Whatnot show. Normally I would put this on over my head, but I've got my microphone on my head. I'm trying to not be disruptive that way. Okay, let's see. So there she is. Look how cute she is. Love this little patootie. Let's see. After I take all of the photos, I then move to my editing stage. And for me, like I said, mostly my editing is for just cropping and stuff like that. Hold on. Front. It's disconnected again. So annoying. And in the beginning, when I first got this thing, I didn't realize that I could just, it has like a little on off switch. So I didn't know that I could just turn it off and then turn it back on again to make it reconnect. So I was walking over and like closing out my camera app and then like going to the Bluetooth and connecting it again. And I was doing that all the time. It was so annoying. It's still annoying with the on off switch, but see, I do sometimes like in addition to like this whole thing, I also do this pose a lot, like right, but it doesn't always look right. A lot of the time, it's a like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Why like this seems like a very common pinup-y kind of thing, but there's something that I'm doing with the rest of my legs that it just looks very weird a lot. I don't know how to explain it, but also crunching my shoulders up again. All right, let's see. Somewhere along the line, somehow one of these, like I kind of lean forward. Actually, it looks pretty terrible in this dress, I think. I don't know where I picked that up, but I liked it. There we go. Pull my shoulders back a little bit. And it's very funny because as I do this, I recognize there's always sort of a very similar series of poses that I go through, not necessarily consciously, but I can't talk while styling. I don't know what happened there. My remote got really slow. I'm going to get a little belt and put it on with this because this dress is a little bit loose on me. Actually, no, I'm not, because it's not going to look cute with a belt. I'm just going to do this and kind of cinch it in with my hand. This photo here, where I'm cinching it in, that might be my primary photo, and then everything else will just be with the dress loose. Because it's a little bit too big for me, I don't want to be misleading, but I also don't want to, it when this dress is on someone that it fits, it will look better. It will, like on me, it looks a little bit like a sack. So I feel like pinning it gives a little bit of that impression, but I try not to be too obnoxious about it. Sometimes if people pin things and the things are really too large on them, it's not a good representation of what the item is really going to look like. So I try and do a good mix of something that clearly is very flattering to the garment and makes it look really good because I am marketing my items, but also then I try to keep my things realistic. Am I not going to be able to do this dress for you? Oh, there we go. Look at this one. I was trying to make sure I pulled a range of pieces. This is the last one I'm going to do. And let's see. This was a total coincidence because I didn't plan to get that Depop dress today. So look at this thing, man. I got this from the Vintage Stylist lady. So that's in the Vintage Stylist haul playlist. She has a bunch of great pieces. I actually have, let me see, I have like 3 or 4 dresses with these kind of sleeve things going on right now that I've been holding aside because I want to list them all at the same time. I don't know why. Like, just get it listed so somebody can pay you a lot of money for it, Laura. But so I want to get them all listed, but some of them needed some work. So one needed stain treatment, which I did. There's another one now that needs stain treatment and a couple of seams fixed. And another one that I can't remember. I think it needs like a little bit of a wash, but I can't recall. I've obviously been avoiding them. So let's see. Oh, Bluetooth is dead again. The other thing too is this sometimes gets really slow. Like that's been on, as I'm doing this with you, a couple of times my Bluetooth reaction is not very quick. So I've been snapping it and it's delaying. So right there it works. So do tuck this little pink thing under here out of the way. All right. Front, side, back, and then side. All right, now posy pose. Had to suck and pull the shoulders back again. I am going to do one of these. I've tried in the past doing like this, but the sleeve just does that. And then it's like, what are you doing with your hand on your head? Yeah. So sometimes also when I have a dress, this one, it doesn't really matter. I try and do one of these so that you can see how far the volume of the dress goes. I feel like I didn't get enough of the. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, I don't take that many of the back, which is a relief. Like the front and the sides, I take like bajillion, and then the back, I take like 3. But what's different? I'm not closing my eyes from the back. It doesn't matter. So I had a little white thing. All right, whatever. I'll do a couple front C's again. I always have a problem with this side. For some reason, I feel like I can't pose as well as the other side. And I don't know what it is that I'm like, I just don't like those photos as much as the other side. Just redoing this because it had that lint. One more. Okay. So the other thing I started saying before is I go through these automatic poses and it's just grown over time. It's not anything necessarily intentional. And I know that some of them don't work for me. I know that these are going to be things that I delete automatically. The problem is I don't know, I can't connect the photos that always look terrible with the movement of my body that so I kind of stand to the side, position myself, and then I turn ahead, and start doing and then, kind of like move the shoulder here and then here and then here, tilting the head as I go, that kind of stuff. There are certain things that don't look good ever, and I can't connect what I'm doing with what the end result is necessarily. Now I got to unzip this stupid thing again. you really have to be like I have very flexible arms. I don't know. I'm not as good this way, right? I'm pretty good though. Still close. Anyway, but yeah, so that's the other thing with modeling is being able to get in and out of all this stuff a million times. Okay, there we go. Phew. Thought that was stuck for a second. There it is though. Anyway, that's basically it. After I'm done with this, I'll do my editing. So for me, editing usually involves cropping. Um, I set the camera back far enough to be able to get a full length view of me because throughout the course of my little photo session, I'm doing long dresses, short dresses, tops, pants, whatever. So I want to make sure I don't have to readjust the camera. Um, and so cropping, sometimes I have to like tilt the angle and stuff a little bit to make some adjustments, even though I think that I've got the camera set up properly to account for all the angles and all of that. Like I do check it beforehand, but for some reason, a lot of the time I still end up with wonky lines. And then sometimes I have to adjust color or shadow or something like that. Whenever I do any of those adjustments, I am very careful to only be making the adjustments to display what I perceive the true color of that item to be. So my iPhone 10 tended to make my photos really yellow for some reason, no matter how many lights I used, natural light, artificial, whatever, it didn't matter. They were always yellow. Um, and so I would adjust some of that out. My iPhone 12, thankfully, does not have that issue. Sometimes I still feel like I have to brighten things up. Like no matter how bright I have the lights, iPhone has decided I don't need that much light. And it's like, nope. And it dims it a little bit. So sometimes I have to brighten it or again, just remove a little bit of shadow or something. So I'll do those edits and then I'll be able to post them. But it's super fun. I don't need to take this off again right now. So I hope that you found this interesting. I have a lot of fun making it. Um, and I hope that you found some of this information useful. If you have any questions about taking your own photos or anything, let me know. I will say that it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of practice. And if you try modeling your own photos and, modeling your own pieces, and you find that you don't like the way that you look in photos, or you get, you know, when you take, I mean, literally, if, I'm doing like 25 garments at a time and I'm taking 40 pictures of each garment, that's a lot of times that you're looking at photos of yourself. And so if you don't necessarily feel good about how you look, that can be depressing. And that's normal. So I don't want to say like, oh, don't worry about it. It's normal. Try and remember that your perception of yourself is a lot worse, often, sadly, than other people's perceptions of you. And the other thing is that it's really great to be able to put different body types and everything out there on the internet for people to reference. Like we're all used to seeing a very specific type of model, and it's great that we are able to put ourselves out there and not necessarily be in that cookie cutter. And I know that I kind of fit the cookie cutter version. But I have a lot of insecurity about this and about my posture and my age, things happening because of my age. But, I make a concerted effort to look at other people and other examples of myself or older women, larger women, smaller women, all sorts of different types of people online. I try to expose myself to things that we're not necessarily used to seeing, and it definitely helps. And then I try to help contribute to that myself. So um, do it for a few, take a few modeled photos of yourself for like 3 or 4 garments. Maybe just put all your modeled shots up on Depop where everybody is modeling things. Depop is great for that too. I think it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun to do, and people really do enjoy seeing pieces modeled instead of just on a dress form or, God forbid, on a crooked hanger in a shadowy corner. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it. I will see you again soon.